Nowhere Else to Go, Chapter 1, A Miraculous Ladybug Fanfiction. Now, before I get into the story, I just want to say something. I'm sure most of you have heard about Miraculous Ladybug Fanfiction, aka Eleanor Rose. She wrote an awesome coffee shop AU called Strawberry Frappuccinos in a black leather jacket, and I'm currently running a Kickstarter for pins based on designs described in that series. Go check it out! There's a link to the Kickstarter as well as her fanfiction in the description below. Okay, on to Nowhere Else to Go. Marinette stared bleary-eyed at her monitor, deleting the random jumble of letters that had been typed into the last line of the text document when her head had nodded onto the keyboard. History homework. It wasn't that late, but it had been a busy Sunday. A couple hours at the pool with the girls, then running all over Paris to find Andre. So not only was her body exhausted without the extra boost courtesy of the magic suit, but the early summer weather left her feeling warm and sleepy. No matter how many times she read the words in her textbook, they wouldn't stick to her brain and she had no idea what to write. Maybe she could take a quick nap and try again later. Setting a 30-minute timer on her phone, Marinette clambered up the ladder to her loft bed. And that's when she heard it. A knock on her trap door. It was unmistakable. 3 rhythmic, dull thumps. Marinette stilled, going on high alert. Who would be on her balcony at this time? "Marinette, are you there?" The voice was muffled but audible from her close distance to the trap door. Phew! It was no one sinister, just Cat Noir. But Cat Noir? What was he doing here? Confused, Marinette pushed open the trapdoor gently, careful not to hit the superhero on the other side. "Marinette, sorry to bother you, but can I come in? It's urgent." His green eyes, gleaming in the darkness, were wide and his features seemed to be strained with fear? Marinette's heart rate quickened. What was going on, and why had he come to her? Was there an Akuma? And how did he know to come to Marinette? Did he know she was Ladybug? But Cat Noir wouldn't be afraid of an Akuma. Something wasn't adding up. An uneasy feeling churned in Marinette's gut. Marinette nodded, opening the trapdoor wider and moving aside. "What are you doing here, Cat Noir?" He dropped inside onto Marinette's bed and scampered down the ladder, brushing off her comforter as he went, muttering, "Sorry to get your bed dirty." "Did something happen, Cat?" His posture was slumped and eyes troubled as he stood in the middle of her room. He had a large duffel bag, which was weird. Marinette had never seen him with any civilian items before. "I'm really sorry to ask this of you, Marinette, but can I stay here for a while? I'm sorry, I just don't know where else to go." "What do you mean?" Marinette noticed that his mouth and nose were redder than usual, and his vivid green eyes were glossy, as if he had been crying. She furrowed her brow. "Cat, what happened?" "I can't go home right now. Or ever." His tone was dejected. "Why not?" I can't really explain. I just can't. And I know it's a lot to ask, and I'm really sorry. I just don't really have anywhere to go, and if you want, I can leave, but..." "Cat Noir." At Marinette's stern tone, he stopped babbling and looked at her. "You think I'd turn you out onto the streets? Of course you can stay, as long as you need to." Cat Noir let out a heavy sigh of relief. "Thank you so much, Marinette. You're so awesome." "I won't ask any questions if you don't want me to," Marinette said. "But if you need a friend, I'm a good listener." He gave her a faint, quivering smile through his pained expression. "Thank you." It twisted Marinette's heart to see him like this. She wanted to comfort him and get him to spill whatever was bothering him. But as Marinette, they didn't have that close of a relationship, so she pulled out her desk chair and gestured to it. "Why don't you sit down? I just need to prepare a few things. I'll be right back." He sank into the chair, drew up his knees, and buried his face in his arms. Marinette frowned, watching him. What could have happened? She had never seen him looking so distressed. Marinette dragged her chaise longue across the floor under the loft. She went downstairs and came back with an armful of dark bed linens she had brought from the cabinet in the hall. A couple she tossed on the chaise longue along with a thick comforter, then sat at her sewing machine, hemming strips of scrap fabric and attaching them to the top corners of 2 sheets. Digging in her supply box, she found 4 pieces of Velcro and attached them to the fabric strips. Climbing back onto her bed, she looped and attached the strips to the rungs of the railing so they draped down to hide the area under the bed. "Hey Cat, check it out." Cat peeked out from his arms. The desk area was now sequestered off from the rest of the room. "If you want to de-transform in there, you can. I won't come in while you're in there, I promise. I'll just let you know when I need my desk or my sewing machine." Cat Noir's smile was weak but genuine. "Wow, you're brilliant, princess." A couple hours later, Marinette lay awake, staring at the ceiling. She'd forgotten about her history homework. Her computer was half covered by the drape of the makeshift tent, and she would surely be able to see civilian Cat Noir if she used it now. If she was lucky, she could run home and finish the assignment during lunch. She closed her eyes and tried to sleep, but thoughts and images were running in her mind and her eyes popped open again. "Nice room," a vaguely familiar voice said. Marinette's ears perked up. His Kwame. "Shh, be quiet, Plag," Cat Noir hissed. "What's the big deal? She's asleep." Cat didn't reply. It was deadly quiet for a few moments, and Marinette struggled to keep her breathing even, pretending to be asleep. "Do you think we'll be safe here?" Cat Noir's voice said after a while. Maybe he had judged that Marinette was asleep. Marinette was pretty sure it was against the code for civilians to know about the existence of Kwamis. She had met Plag before, as both Marinette and Ladybug, at Master Fu's place and when he helped with Style Queen, but Cat Noir didn't know he knew Marinette or that Marinette was even aware of the existence of Kwamis. Was Cat Noir's Kwami really so reckless? "As long as they have cheese." "I mean, I don't want to bring any trouble to Marinette's family. Maybe we should leave." Marinette's eyes widened. She resisted the urge to yell, "No!" "You're right. Maybe we should stay in the attic of a fancy restaurant so we can have our pick of the best cheeses." Marinette's jaw dropped. What was his Kwami saying? "Yeah, maybe." Why would that silly cat consider it? Marinette felt protectiveness flare in her chest. Sure, the fact that she was Ladybug could potentially make things a bit complicated, but the thought of Cat Noir wandering around on the streets or sleeping in abandoned buildings was just unacceptable. At least Marinette's house was clean and safe, with a proper bathroom and plenty of food available. She couldn't help but intervene. She sat upright and leaned over the edge of the bed. The sounds from below stilled, as if Cat Noir were pretending to be asleep upon hearing her move. "I'm sorry to eavesdrop," Marinette said, "but you're not going anywhere." "You're awake?" "Yes, and I admit I don't understand the whole situation, but my mom and I are trained in martial arts, and you've seen my dad. We can defend ourselves." Marinette heard Cat Noir shift. "You're trained in martial arts?" So he wasn't going to acknowledge the fact that Marinette had heard his Kwami. Marinette wasn't going to mention it. If they were both going to pretend that hadn't happened, that was fine with her. "Well, yes. My mom made me take classes when I was younger." "Didn't know you were so feisty, princess." His chuckle was humorless, but still somewhat eased Marinette's concerns that he would leave. "Anyway, my point is, you don't have to feel guilty about staying. I'll give you a key to the back door so people won't notice you coming in." He was silent for a moment, considering what she said. "Okay. Yeah, that should work. The balcony is a bit exposed." "Unless you drop right into the trap door," Marinette thought. She had perfected the technique, but she didn't exactly want Cat Noir dropping onto her bed unexpectedly either. "Yep, tomorrow I'll get you the key." Of course, she'd have to explain to her parents first that a superhero was taking refuge in their house, but she'd cross that bridge once she came to it. Thank you for listening to Nowhere Else to Go, Chapter 1. If you liked it, I'd very much appreciate if you leave a like or a comment. I like to hear from you guys. The next part is coming soon, so be sure to subscribe for updates. Until next time!